Today at the Nike WHQ. Don't know exactly what that is, to be honest. The Nike worldwide headquarters. Okay, that makes more sense. But she has showed up to the Nike worldwide headquarters, and obviously this is one of those, like, she is the massive guest. They're all there.
Caitlin Clark recently stepped inside Nike's global headquarters in Oregon, and everything came to a standstill. Staff members filled the corridors, phones raised, applause ringing through the building as if a legendary icon had arrived. This type of welcome is unheard of for a WNBA player entering only her second season. It's the kind of treatment Nike typically gives to figures like LeBron James or Serena Williams. And there is a very clear and deliberate reason why this moment is unfolding right now.
The Nike WHQ, her arrival. Obviously, when it's Caitlin Clark, they're all clapping her. It's muted right now on your screen, so like, it is what it is. And obviously promo material shown and given out. So this is the annoying thing about this is why is everything about this talking about worldwide? You can't get anything Caitlin Clark related outside states. Can't get.
Just look at the reaction. Her signature logo unveiling is being treated like a full-scale company launch. And that logo is especially telling. When it was first revealed, some in the basketball world said it felt more like a lifestyle emblem than a pure performance mark. That's exactly where the brilliance lies. Nike took a critical lesson from the Sabrina Ionescu line. Those shoes sold out immediately, not only to athletes but to everyday consumers who wanted comfortable, stylish sportswear. The Caitlin Clark logo is built for more than sneakers. It's meant for tees, hoodies, outerwear, and streetwear. It's designed to live everywhere, not just on the hardwood.
The whole Caitlin Clark thing, why they're pushing this right now, is because the shoe's coming soon. This sneaker is going to be revealed soon. So they said spring. I think they said spring. It's meant to be released, I think, in spring of this year. I think if we're being real, like, she's already done the podcast rounds. She was on the Kelsey's podcast. She was on talking about the shoe. She's been doing plenty of things at Nike, playing things with Nike. And
this is where Nike's strategy becomes very deliberate. The company is accelerating this media push because the shoe launch is right around the corner, officially slated for spring 2025. That timeline is locked in. Caitlin has already made the podcast rounds, including a sit-down with the Kelsey brothers where she discussed the design process behind the shoe. She's also been back and forth to Nike headquarters over the past several months, finalizing details and shaping the final product. There's also a key reason she quickly shut down any possibility of playing in the unrivaled league this year. Last season, she left the door open on 3-on-3 basketball, but this time she ended the conversation immediately during the WNBA season because Nike needed her fully available. They wanted her schedule clear for appearances, media obligations, and a tightly coordinated rollout of what could become their biggest signature athlete debut in more than 10 years.
And Steph Curry's coach reposting everything, and Caitlin Clark posting Steph Curry wearing her shoes. There's plenty, because, like, again, her sneakers are literally, they are the most worn, they're the most worn sneakers in the NBA this season. Like, Caitlin's P's have been the most worn sneakers in the NBA. So at the end of the day, like, if it was that big a deal, the NBA players were wearing Caitlin Clark shoes, she would have posted more about it, or, you know, with her sneakers being first and second in the NBA.
Here's the detail that should alarm every rival footwear brand. Stephen Curry was seen wearing Caitlin's Player Edition sneakers, and even his coach shared it publicly. This wasn't a staged moment or a quick promotional stunt. Throughout this NBA season, the Caitlin Clark P has become the most commonly worn signature shoe on NBA courts. Not LeBron's line, not Jordan's, not Kevin Durant's, Caitlin Clark's. NBA players are deliberately selecting a WNBA athlete's signature model over every other elite option available. That has never occurred in the history of basketball. When male professionals willingly compete in a women-led signature shoe, it isn't a feel-good headline or symbolic gesture. It represents a fundamental shift in how the marketplace perceives, values, and consumes women's basketball products.
That Caitlin's everywhere. The shoe is everywhere. And it's going to be it's going to be Nike's biggest sneaker launch for a new signature athlete, probably since being a signature athlete really matters. Since it hasn't mattered that much. Like, the launch of the Giannis shoe, who's been their best athlete they've had, wasn't that big. Their launch of the Luka shoe, because he was with Jordan Brand. Their launch of even the Bookers, the Jazz, the Kyrie ones, which were great.
This is why this release matters so much to Nike's broader business strategy. Signature athletes cost a fortune, with companies paying tens of millions annually to stars like Giannis Antetokounmpo, Devin Booker, and Jason Tatum. Yet the return has been shrinking. The challenge Nike has faced is that none of those recent launches sparked a true cultural wave that justified the price tag. Giannis's debut line arrived quietly. Luka Doncic's shoes, even under the Jordan Brand umbrella, failed to break beyond hardcore sneaker fans. Even Kyrie's line, despite producing excellent on-court footwear, never translated into the kind of widespread consumer demand that makes a signature deal truly worthwhile. Caitlin Clark changes that equation. Her appeal extends beyond basketball diehards to casual sports viewers, to women who have never purchased a pair of basketball shoes, to parents buying sneakers for daughters who see themselves in her. Nike is wagering that signature athletes still have value, but only when they rise above the sport itself and become cultural figures rather than just elite players.
There's a lot of sports where there's no signature athletes, and Nike are doing just fine in those sports. So I think the true value of a signature athlete is going to come down to Caitlin Clark. I do think Caitlin Clark is going to be I think she's going to be one of the last two female signature athletes. My guess for signature sneaker, is that one of Paige Beckers or Juju Watkins is going to get a signature sneaker. I think both of them are signed to deals. By the way, as far as I'm aware, Juju signed to a bigger deal than Caitlin Clark, but it's not a guaranteed signature sneaker. She's just going to be getting her, she's going to be the face of a line. She's going to be like the face of Nike are going to have like a generic sneaker where she's going to be the face of.
So the conversation now shifts to what comes next for signature deals in women's basketball. Caitlin has her own line. Aya Wilson has hers with Nike. Sabrina Ionescu's series has proven to be a major commercial win. Then you look at the next wave. Paige Buchers and Juju Watkins both landed major endorsement agreements. In fact, Juju's Nike deal is reportedly larger than Caitlin's original contract. But there's a key distinction. Juju doesn't have a guaranteed signature shoe. Instead, she's positioned as the face of a broader performance model, similar to when Nike hesitated to fully commit to Blake Griffin early on and made him the face of the Hyperdunk line rather than giving him a personalized series. That approach acted as a hedge, and in Blake's case, it ended up being the right call when his career didn't reach the projected heights. Nike is applying the same strategy with Juju. She'll get exposure and exclusive colorways, but not a dedicated line, which is being reserved for Paige or whoever ultimately proves to be the stronger cultural magnet. And right now, based on unrivaled viewership figures and social media traction, Paige is steadily making that argument.
And Caitlin's got nothing to do age as Sabrina. I think one of Juju or Paige, whichever one of them ends up being the bigger draw, I think it could very well be Paige. I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm looking at unrivaled numbers, I'm looking at everything, and I'm like, nowhere near Caitlin level in terms of hype, but like Paige, there is a level of hype there with Paige. There genuinely is. So I can see that happening, and get her getting a signature sneaker, and then like Juju maybe being the face of a generic line, because they have some generic lines as well, because they have so many non-signature athletes and they can't.
What makes the timing of this Nike headquarters appearance so intriguing is what's happening around the league right now. The WNBA is locked in CBA talks that could realistically wipe out the entire 2025 season. Players are openly discussing a potential work stoppage, and the gap between the league and the Players Association on revenue sharing is reportedly in the billions. Yet Nike is pushing ahead with this rollout as if none of that uncertainty exists, which means they either know something the public doesn't or they're placing a very calculated bet. If an agreement is reached by February, it wouldn't be surprising to see the shoe unveiled within 48 hours, allowing Nike to ride the wave of optimism that comes with the season being saved. But if talks stall into March or April, the launch likely happens anyway, Because Nike clearly has a contingency plan that doesn't depend entirely on the WNBA calendar.
The Caitlin Clark situation for her during her rookie season, but hopefully that's all kind of been put to bed and we get to see the sneaker soon. My guess is that the launch of the Caitlin Clark shoe is going to be sometime in the next, I think we will see what it looks like in the next 6 weeks. I think maybe Nike don't want to announce the shoe and release the shoe during.
And that contingency plan is already in place. The FIBA World Cup qualifiers in March. Team USA has qualifying games scheduled, and Caitlin Clark is on the roster. So even if the WNBA season is delayed or doesn't happen at all, Clark will still be competing on an international stage next month. That's when the shoe will make its first on-court appearance. She'll debut it during a Team USA game, with Nike dropping the official images at the same time and opening pre-orders immediately. It's the same launch playbook Nike has used for its biggest signature releases, except this time the face of it all is a second-year WNBA player. That alone shows just how much faith Nike has in Caitlin Clark's ability to move the market.
If the CBA starts dragging into March and April, I think they're going to release the shoe anyway. But the thing is, like, it's one of those things where they would probably want to see Caitlin play in the shoe before it's released worldwide. And Team USA. Oh no, I'm an idiot. It's going. The first time we're going to see it is going to be during World Cup qualifiers. World Cup qualifiers in March when Team USA are playing their first set of games. So they're going to be playing their first set of games, and it's going to be during that. I'm a dumbass. Like, that's obviously when the shoe.
Now, it's worth looking at what went wrong in year one, because the difference is dramatic. During Caitlin's rookie season, Nike hardly promoted her at all, despite having the biggest attraction women's basketball had ever seen. She was pulling nearly 3 million viewers for regular season WNBA games, yet Nike behaved as if they were hesitant to fully embrace it. There were no massive billboards, no dominant advertising push, no effort to make her the centerpiece of their WNBA marketing strategy. The reason was clear. Nike was worried about backlash from other athletes on its roster. Aya Wilson is a Nike athlete. Sabrina Ionescu is a Nike athlete. Breanna Stewart may be with Puma, but Nike still maintains close ties with many WNBA players. Inside Nike's marketing ranks, there was an unspoken concern that going all in on Caitlin would upset everyone else. So they chose caution. They deliberately limited her exposure and allowed her rookie year to unfold without fully capitalizing on her star power. From a business standpoint, it was a massive missed opportunity. But something changed once the season ended. Maybe it was the ratings data that forced a reevaluation. That came in showing Caitlin's the measurable surge in viewership may have been the trigger, or perhaps it was the sell-through data on her player edition shoes, or even watching rival brands profit from Caitlin-related products while Nike hesitated on the sidelines. But whatever the catalyst, a clear decision was made. Nike chose to treat this signature release the way it always should have been handled, as a full-scale cultural moment and the arrival of a once-in-a-generation athlete who exists beyond the limits of her sport. That is exactly what this visit to Nike headquarters symbolizes. It's Nike openly declaring that caution is over. Caitlin is now the focal point. They are staking the future of their signature athlete strategy on her, fully aware that some will be upset by the imbalance of attention, and proceeding anyway because the business logic is undeniable. Consider what this represents for the WNBA itself. For years, the league has wrestled with how to promote individual stars without breeding resentment. The long-standing team-first messaging wasn't just about unity. It was driven by fear that elevating one player too far would fracture the group, fear that spotlighting a single superstar would diminish everyone else, fear that the league couldn't survive a transcendent figure without losing its collective identity. Caitlin Clark is forcing that fear into the open, and Nike's handling of this launch is the clearest sign yet that the old approach no longer works. You cannot suppress your biggest draw to protect sensitivities. You cannot downplay your most marketable talent because of potential backlash. The marketplace doesn't care about internal discomfort. It responds to demand, and Caitlin Clark generates demand. This release is poised to become Nike's largest signature debut since the Kyrie one, and quite possibly even bigger. Pre-orders will overwhelm sites. The initial colorway will vanish almost instantly. Resale prices will jump overnight, and anyone who argued that the WNBA lacked the star power to support signature athletes will be forced to retract it. What complicates everything is that Caitlyn never asked for the spotlight. She isn't campaigning to be the face of the league or demanding preferential treatment. She's simply performing at a level that creates unavoidable demand, and as a result, she's going to carry the weight of everything that follows. Resentment that comes with this kind of her visibility comes with inevitable scrutiny. Caitlyn will be criticized for taking up too much space, accused of benefiting from privilege, and face pressures that Aya Wilson or Breanna Stewart never had to endure. Not because she's doing anything wrong, but because her presence challenges the comfortable story the WNBA has been telling itself for 20 years. Nike is betting that none of that will matter. They're counting on the millions of consumers eager to buy Caitlin Clark shoes, not caring about internal league politics. They're counting on casual sports fans who've never watched a full WNBA game, but recognize her name, to purchase her gear. They're counting on the next generation of young girls seeing themselves in Caitlyn and convincing their parents to buy the shoes, jerseys, and apparel. So when that shoe officially launches in March, watch closely. Watch reception, sales figures, and whether Nike's gamble pays off. If it succeeds, it changes everything. Not just for Caitlyn, not just for Nike, but for how female athletes are marketed going forward. This is the ultimate test case, the moment we find out if a women's basketball star can be promoted on the same level as the world's top male athletes. Based on what we've seen so far, the reception Caitlyn received at Nike headquarters, the NBA players already wearing her shoes, the answer feels obvious. The real question now is whether the wider world is ready to accept it.